morning student. I Purnima welcome you to my class and I hope you are all fine and well in your house. So stay safe, follow all the protocols of COVID-19 and with this instruction children, I am going to start the lesson A Question of Trust. First I will be telling you about the author, then about the theme of the story. Okay, so A Question of Trust, children, it is written by Victor Canning. So this lesson, let me tell you about something about the author. So Victor Canning was a famous English writer of novels and thrillers. His thrillers are famous for their romance, mystery and unexpected and highly thrilling endings. In 1965, he began a series of 4 books that featured a private detective named Rex Carver. So, children, you can see how brilliant that person was. That in 1965, he began a series of 4 books, children, with a private detective named Rex Carver. Now I would like to tell you about the central idea of the story. The story A Question of Trust is based on the robbery committed in a house at a Shotover Grange. So Shotover Grange is a name of a place where 2 professional thieves come face to face. Children, they had a same mission on robbing the safe on the house. Children, both of them made elaborate preparation to make the theft a complete success. Horace Denby robbed a safe every year just because he had few hobby like to buy expensive books and read. And since he used to make a lock, he was a lock maker, he cannot afford that expensive book. So only once in a year he used to children do robbery or do burglary, and he don't even take all the money, only the limited money which was sufficient enough to buy those expensive books. And children, when he went to rob the safe of Shotover Grange, there he was caught by a red-handed lady in a red. The young lady in red was also a thief, but she presented herself as the lady of the house. Horace, in confusion, requested her to go because she told that she is going to hand him over to the police. But she presented herself as the lady of the house. Horace, in confusion, requested her to go away. She threatened to call the police. At last, a compromise was reached. The cost of Horace's freedom was settled. He was to open the safe and hand over the jewels to her. Horace thought that he was opening the safe for the lady of the house. He handed the jewels over to her and went out happily. He, children, had forgotten to wear the gloves when he was opening the safe. Children, after 2 days, Horace was arrested on the basis of those fingerprints which were left on the safe, and a grey-haired 60 years old lady who claimed to be the owner of the house and the wife of the owner of the house stated that Horace's story was nonsense. It was all fake because not that lady in the red, but she is the lady of the house. So children, this is a very strange story, but you will enjoy all this thing. And now I am going to tell you all the important background of the story, okay, and then in detail, and you will see how nice this story is. Good morning student, I Purnima is going to continue the rest of the story now, and I will be starting with my first point, that people used to think Horace Denby is a very honest person, but actually he was not a very honest person. Horace Denby was 50 years old and children. He was unmarried. He made logs and the business was not bad. He was doing good. Okay, but one thing was there, children, and what was that thing? He was children, and one more thing was there, that his health was not very good. Everybody used to think he's a fit and fine, but he used to sometime he used to suffer from the attacks of hay fever in summer. It is a type of allergy to him which was caused by a special type of flowers. So everyone thought Horace was good, honest and respectable, but he was not completely honest. Why? Because I'm telling you why. Children, Horace Denby had a passion for rare and expensive books. He loved to read rare and expensive books. For that he needed extra money. He used to rob a safe every year to carry forward his costly hobby. With the money he got from robbing, he secretly bought the book he loved. And that book he used to purchase from children, from some agent. He never has to go also outside. So the people will not raise their, they will not had any suspicion or something like that towards Horace Denby. Now Horace Denby was never, he was not a honest person. If he would have been honest person completely, he would not have robbed the money from the safe to buy those expensive books. Careful planning of robberies. Now children, Horace Denby never acted in haste. Children, he was a very conscious person about his children, his picture in the society. He wanted to show everybody that he is very good and honest person. Every robbery was planned thoroughly. All his previous robberies were completely successful. He felt sure that his latest robbery at Shortover Grange would be successful as the other. He had been studying the house, the room from the last week, and he saw where those electricity wires were there, where is the way, and his garden for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks he had, since he had to do robbery at children at this short over grand. So, and the house, children, he had seen from the safe of the house, he had seen from some interior decorating book. And children, he was from the last 2 weeks, he was watching each and everything of the house, who are there in the house, how many people are there in the house, where they are going, where they are coming, okay, where the electrical wiring is, where is the path, where is the garden, where are all the doors and windows. So he was watching each and everything very carefully. Then only he would make his plan to rob the house. He knew that the 2 servants of the at the Grange had gone out to the movie. He found out from an article in a magazine where the safe was. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door. Encounters leading. Now children, a day came in his life when he was there at Shortover Grange to rob the safe. Children, when Horace Denby came out from behind the garden wall, he had packed his tool carefully in the bag. The small dog which was there, anyhow, Horace Denby knew a lot of tricks to how to make him friendly, and he became friend also. He did not start barking. He knew how to keep dog quiet. He called by its right name Sherry, and the dog became very friendly to him. He knew that there were 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the safe. He could easily get 5,000, which sum was enough to make him happy for a year. It was not a difficult job for him to open the safe. He had lived with locks and safes all his life. He went to the drawing room to open the safe. The safe was there. He felt his nose tickle. He started sneezing. Suddenly he heard a female voice. She advised him to cure his hay fever with a special treatment. He found a young pretty woman dressed in red standing there. Horace mistook the lady in red for the lady of the house. So children, what he did, he took the lady in red behaved and acted with an air of confidence and authority. She told Horace that she did not expect a burglar in her house. She also threatened to call the police if he tried to run away. Now children, that lady in red, so confidently she told that she is the lady owner of the house, and if he will not, children, she is going to hand him over to the police. Children, he wanted to run away. Okay, society must be protected. She told society must be protected for burglars like him. Horace told her that he robbed only those who had a lot of money. He promised her not to do such a thing again. He requested him to let him go. All along this proceeding, Horace Denby had been mistaking her as the lady of the house. Now children, when he was saying that, he did not know that she is not the lady of the house. So children, she advised children when how he had lived with locks and safe all his life. He went to the drawing room to open the safe. The safe was there. He felt his nose tickle. He started sneezing because Horace Denby was suffering from hay fever. Suddenly he heard a female voice. She advised him to cure his hay fever with a special treatment. He found a young pretty woman dressed in red standing there. Horace mistook the lady in red for the lady of the house. The lady in red behaved and acted so well, so much confident that he really thought that she is the whole soul of the house, she is the authority of the house. She told Horace that she did not expect a burglar in her house. She also threatened to call the police if he tried to run away. Society must be protected from burglars like him. Horace told her that he robbed only those who had a lot of money. He promised her not to do such a thing again. He requested her to let him go out. All along those proceedings, Horace Denby had been mistaking her as the lady of the house. Now, 6. The lady in red makes Horace open the safe. Now, Horace told her that he was desperate and she must let him go. He hated the thought that he should be in the prison. The lady exploited Horace's confusion here and fear. She asked him to make a compromise. He must open the safe for her. She needed the jewels for the night party, and as she was not having the key right now, only then she would allow him to go out of the house. Horace opened the safe and handed over the jewel to the young lady. And children, he went out happily. He thought now he is safe, not knowing that she herself was the thief. And how nicely she had fooled him. Horace arrested left fingerprints. On the noon of the third day, children, a policeman arrested Horace. He was arrested for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. He was arrested on the basis of his fingerprints left on the safe. He had opened the safe without wearing his gloves. Horace pleaded that the lady of the house herself had asked him to open the safe for her. But then the real lady of that house came in front of him. She was an old lady of about 60 years of age, and she was having grey hair. She stated that Horace's story was nonsense. The young lady in red decamped with the jewel while Horace was sent to prison. The lady in red was the real culprit and burglar. She outfitted and auto-maneuvered Horace Denby completely. Okay, so she was the lady in red. She was also the thief and burglar like Horace, but how nicely she had fooled him. So children, The lady in red is gifted with a rare personality. She is full of confidence, first of all. She acts like a perfect actress, presenting herself as the lady of the house. Even the dog was rubbing against her in a friendly manner. In a very subtle way, she told Horace that she wanted to wear the jewels in the safe to a party that night, and she made him open the safe without gloves. Horace willingly hands over the jewel and she decamps him. Okay, she decamps him for that. So, children, with this, my background of the story is done, and now I'm going to do the reading of the lesson. Okay, so question of trust, page number 20. Okay, so I will read the chapter. It is said that you must set a thief to catch a thief, but it is also said that there is honor among thieves. Which saying does this story illustrate? So this, children, we will come to know after reading the story only. Okay, so everyone thought that Horace Denby was a good, honest citizen. Now, children, Horace Denby is the person, and everybody thought that he is a very good and honest citizen. He was about 50 years old and unmarried. So, student, he was about 50 years old and he was unmarried. And he lived with a housekeeper who worked over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. So, children, he lived with the housekeeper who worked over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. He made blocks and was successful enough at his business. So, what was his work of Horace Denby, student? He made blocks and he was successful in his attempt. He made law and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. Yes, Horace Denby was good and respectable, but not completely honest. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books. So he robbed a safe every year. Each year he planned carefully just what he would do, to store enough to last for 12 months, and secretly bought the book he loved through an agent. Now walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year a robbery was going to be as successful as all the others. For 2 weeks he had been studying the house. Now, children, it was July and lot of sunshine. Okay, and he again felt the need to buy some expensive books. For that, children, he had to do robbery, and every year his robbery was going successful as all the others. For 2 weeks he had been studying the house at Shortover Grange, looking at its roof, its electrical wiring, its paths and its garden. This afternoon the two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London. So, children, he chose a house where the family was in London at the time of the robbery, and children, the whole house left on two servants and children, and that day when he had to do robbery, those servants had gone to see the movie. So in a very nice manner he had made the plan that the house owner was not there, they had gone to London. The two servants who used to take care for the house, even they had gone to see the movie, so nobody was there in the house. A dog was there, and Horace Denby had made him very friendly. So Horace saw them go and he felt happy in spite of a little trickle of hay fever in his nose. Now children, when he entered the house, he was happy that the two servants had also left. And children, suddenly he started feeling tickling in his nose because he was a sufferer of hay fever. It's a type of allergic fever due to allergy. He came out from behind the garden wall, his stool, and children, why he his nose was tickling? Because just now he came from garden, and in that garden, that particular flower was there. With that flower, he was allergic to hay fever. So his tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. So children, and the tool from which he is going to open the children's safe, it was there on his shoulder in a bag. There were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewel in the grain safe. So children, there were about 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the grain safe. If he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000, enough to make him happy for another way. Now children, the worst thing was that he even knew how much money was there in the safe. Okay, and it was total 15,000 pounds worth of jewel in the grain safe. He could buy a lot of, and children, lot of jewelry were there in the safe. And children, 15,000 pounds was too heavy amount. He can buy a lot of jewelry from that amount if he sold them one by one. And lot of jewelry were also there, and if he could have sold jewelry one by one, he could get lot of money. He expected to get at least 5,000. Now children, he only wanted to have 5,000, not more than that, which was enough to make him happy for another year. He knew that 5,000 would be enough money, and he can buy a lot of expensive book which he can go through all the year to make him happy. There were 3 very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. Now he would get the money. He wanted to buy them. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. Now children, again he started watching few of the things, and he had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. He put on a pair of gloves, took the key and opened the door. He put on a pair of gloves, he took the key and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise and moved its tail in a friendly way. Now children, he had seen a dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise and moved its tail in a friendly way. All right, Sherry, Horace said as he passed. Now children, he told Sherry. Horace said, now Sherry was the name given by Horace to that dog, and the dog was very happy when it heard his name. It became so friendly. It stirred, it made a noise and moved its tail in a very friendly way. So the dog started moving, wagging its tail in a very friendly way. All right, Sherry, Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love. Now, so he knew how to make the dog friendly. He told this thing that only thing you have to do, you have to call that dog by its name and just give them a lot of love, so they will become your friend. Now the safe was in the drawing room. Now he had to go towards the safe in a drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Now children, a poor painting was there. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up too much room in a small house. Books were better. So the safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books. Actually, a wonderful painting was there, so he wanted to have that painting pictures instead of books, but they took up too much room in a small house. Books were better. But then he thought that his house was too small and the book will only suit that room rather than hanging a picture on the wall. He gave a now Now children, there was a great bowl of flowers on the table. Now he had seen a great bowl of flower was there on the table, and children, he was allergic to that flower. So and Horace felt his nose tickle. When he came near the flower, his nose started tickling. He gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. Children, he gave a little sneeze and then put down his bag. He carefully arranged his stool. He had 4 hours before the servant returned. Now, children, he had only 4 hours before his servants returned. The safe was not going to be hard to open. Now, children, he had got how many hours? Only 4 hours. And children, opening a safe is not easy. It takes a lot of time. But for him, it was not very hard to open the safe. After all, he had lived with locks and safe all his life. Children, after all, what is the meaning of this? After all, he had lived with locks and safe throughout his life. That means, children, he was the person who used to mend locks and safe. He used to make lock and safes. And so, it would be easy for him not to take. It will not take a lot of time also for him to open the safe. The burglar alarm was poorly built. He went into the hall to cut his wire. Now, children, even the burglar alarm which was there in the house, but that was not properly put, and he went with a careful. He wanted to cut the children wire of that burglar alarm, and he carefully did that. Okay, he cuts his wire. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of the flower came to him again. So when he was back in the room, children, again he sneezed loudly as children that flower was kept in the room, and he was allergic to hay fever. Now, how foolish people are when they own valuable things. Horace thought. A magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the room and a picture of the room. Now, children, he was thinking how foolish are the people. Now, before, actually, you will not understand unless I will say a few words here regarding this stanza, regarding this paragraph. Now, children, a magazine is there, and it is about interior decorators design in a hotel or in a house. So people who feel their house is so nice, very well arranged and decorative, so they can give the picture of their house to their magazine. Now, children, he also knew about this house through that magazine, where the owner of the house had given the picture and inside of the house in that magazine. And children, so in that magazine article had described about this house, giving a plan of all this room and picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. Now, children, one of the most foolish things the writer had done, that a painting was there, okay, and behind that painting was that safe. So he had done the most foolish thing. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. And children, only thing he was not able to work properly was those flowers. Again, children, he buried his face in his handkerchief because he could not tolerate those flowers which were hindering his work. Then he heard a voice from the doorway. What is it? A cold or hay fever? Now, children, suddenly he had heard a voice from the back, and somebody was telling him, what is it? Is it a hay fever or a cold? Before he could think, Horace said hay fever and found himself sneezing again. Now, he did not even realize that he came to break the safe there. He is a thief there, and without thinking anything, he only replied hay fever, and again he was about to sneeze. The voice went on. You can cure it with a special treatment, if you find out just what plants give you the disease. I think you would better see a doctor if you are serious about your work. I heard from the top of the house just now. Now, children, she told that a girl voice was there, a lady voice was there, and she told me, I've heard about your sneeze when I was at the top of the house just now. And if you are not feeling well, you can go to the doctor. children, he was shocked. First of all, according to him, nobody should be there in the house. So he was shocked that who is speaking to him. The servants are not there, and according to him, nobody was there in the house. So who was there who is speaking with him, and is the real who is this lady? Because he was expecting that nobody should be there in the house. So children, just now he was shocked because he had concluded everything about the house. He had gathered lot of facts about the house. He knew that the owner of the house were not there. They had gone to England. The servant had gone to see movie. The dogs will not do him anything. So whose voice he has heard just now. So he was very much worried. So children, next part of the story I will tell you in my next video. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.